Hey, I'm Dr. Charles P. Winston, Young Elders Butler, a regularly featured guest on the Young Elders channel about extraterrestrials. I have years of research into the ancient astronauts and ancient technology from your distant past and future. Over 30 ancient cultures reference interaction with physical beings they considered to be gods. Modern archaeology considers these stories to be myth. We will discover the Reptilian Draconian agenda in this amazing video. All right, sci-fi fans, buckle up. Today, I'm diving into the wild world of the Reptilian Draconian agenda. The Reptilians, or Reptoids, are said to be the brainchild of Mother Hubur. Created from the carrions, blue avians and dinosaurs, these beings served as her guard dogs. They evolved on Maldek and Tiamat before moving to Pluto and Titan, a moon of Saturn. Eventually they settled in the Alpha Draconis star system. The Draconian royal line, known as the House of Tar, produce albino reptilians, the upper class who ruled over their kin. When a sunken spaceship in the Atlantic sent out a signal, Navy scientists were captured and consumed by these beings, revealing their brutal nature. Reptilians claimed Terra as their birthplace, using this to justify their covert invasion of Earth. They've established underground bases and allegedly infiltrated world governments. Think British royal family, Bushes and Rothschilds. These shape-shifting, blood-drinking humanoids aim to suppress advanced tech to keep humanity grounded. Originating from Tiamat and Maldek, reptilians were created 90 billion years ago by Mother Hubur, who is Anu's sister. With over 10,000 species and 2,700 subspecies, they possess deep knowledge of universal laws but lack human emotions. Their creation myth grants them the right to colonize and conquer, making them eternal foes of humanity. But not all reptilians are evil. The dark force they represent accelerates soul evolution. Some have ascended but remain trapped in lower dimensions, using blood sacrifices to shapeshift and sustain their form on Earth. Hidden in plain sight, they control us through wars and mindless entertainment. Like we said, the reptilians are the creation of Mother Hubur, who drafted them out of the carrions, blue avians and dinosaurs, their parent race, and used them as guard dogs. They evolved on the planet Maldek and Tiamat, then mixed with Hindus on the planet Pluto and Titian, which is a moon to Saturn, as in Satan. They then moved to Alpha Draco's star system of the Orion constellation. The royal line of reptilians are the Draconians, the winged dragons. The name of their royal line is the House of Tar, Tar-Nush. They are Jinn. The albino reptilians that are born out of them becomes the upper class. Tar-Nush was their leader, who is also referred to as Hubur. He was captured and his son took his place. When a group of white Navy scientists uncovered the Draconian signal being transmitted from a sunken spaceship in the Atlantic Ocean, they dove down to investigate. Once they entered the ship, they were attacked and captured by the two reptilians, who then took the captured to their high masters. They later ate them and drank their blood. The reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Draconis. Like all reptilians, they originated on Terra billions of years ago, a fact that they used to justify their attempt to retake the Earth for their own. They are hiding in underground bases. Many world leaders, including the British royal family, the Bush family, the Rothschilds, and the Merovingian dynasty, are related to these reptilians. They are tall, blood-drinking, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids. They are apparently a major part of a planned invasion, which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode to invert invasion mode as the window of opportunity, the time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power, slowly begins to close. They are attempting to keep the window open by suppressing advanced technology from the masses, which would lead to eventual Terran colonization of other planets by Earth human, and an eventual solution to the population, pollution, food and other environmental problems. Being that Terrans, Earth human, have an inbred warrior instinct, the Draconians do not want them to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agendas. The Reptilians are an advanced race of reptiles, also referred to as the Reptoids, Reptiloids, Reptans Homo saurus, lizard men. They originally came from Tiamat and Meldek. They were created about 90 billion years ago by an ancient top scientist named Mother Hubur, who is Anu's sister. Currently, there are more than 10,000 species and an additional 2,700 subspecies. As of now, there's about 16 to 18 different races of reptilians that you are dealing with. The reptiles have two other major subraces. They are known as the winged serpents, snakes, and the lizards called by some the lizzies. The reptilians are less emotional than their human counterparts, yet they have a highly refined knowledge of universal physics and laws. The reptilians are responsible for the slowing down of Earth's vibration, and their teachings are from the ancient knowledge held by their mother, Mother Hubur. The reptilians were given a creation myth by their mother, Mother Hubur, that clashed with the creation myth of the humans. The reptilians were told that they had the right to colonize all planets and star systems in the universe, and when they did, they also had the right to conquer or destroy any civilization they found there. This creation myth has been the source of the many conflicts between the reptiles and the humans throughout the dimensions. Without the reptilians, everyone would live in peace, and there would be no conflict or war. If this were the case, soul evolution would cease and the universe would become stagnant. The reptilians represent the dark force in the galaxy, while the humans represent the light. Keep in mind, not all reptilians are bad. Through this life of the highest order, all souls in this universe have the opportunity to spiritually evolve and rejoin the creative source of all. Anu is the reigning patriarch of the 9D house of Anu, and Enki is the reigning patriarch of the 4D. Murdoch is the reigning patriarch of the 5, the 7 Thas. Enki is the angel of death, the gatekeeper to the 5th dimension. He is the boatman. Murdoch, Yanun Amun, Enki's son, is the current commander of the Federation flagship Nibiru, being given control of it by his grandfather Anu, the former commander. It is also my overstanding that Murdoch is the patriarch of the 5D house of Anu and also head of the 5D Nibiruan Council. The reptilians were created in the 6th dimension as fire, but were later kicked down to the 4th dimension. They are trapped on the mental plane. There's some who learn how to ascend, but only made it back to the 6th and got trapped. Those on the 4th want out and convince humans to sail their car body to them, so they can use it on the 3rd dimension physical plane. They come down from the 4th dimension. Some are able to come down through blood sacrifice. It must be done every 30 to 90 days for them to stay here. They are what you call shapeshifters. They have to drink blood and eat human flesh to hold their shape in physical form. With no blood, they will have a hard time holding their form. Without the blood, they are forced back into the 4th dimension, which is where hell is. They need the blood. 1 John chapter 5, verse 8. And there are 3 that bear witness in earth, the spirit and the water and the blood. And these 3 agree in one. These extraterrestrial reptilian humanoids have only one objective in their cold-blooded little heads: to enslave the human race. A shapeshifter is a creature that has the ability to change its physical form at will, often transforming into different animals or human appearances, depending on the person. Essentially someone who can shift their shape. Shape-shifting is a common truth in many cultures around the world, appearing in stories about werewolves, selkies, seals who can transform into humans, and even some deities. In stories, shapeshifters often represent deception, trickery, or the ability to adapt to different situations by changing their appearance or personality. Shapeshifter can also be used metaphorically to describe someone who easily adapts to different situations or roles, changing their behavior or style as needed. Some people may say this is not real. Then I would say, what is real? Is it real or real? If you look in nature, can you find shapeshifters? Yes, the chameleons can change its color. They are leaders, corporate executives, beloved Oscar-winning actors and Grammy-winning singers, and they're responsible for the Holocaust, the Oklahoma City bombing, the 9/11 attacks, the C-19 and etc. They control the governments and militaries all around the world. They have controlled mankind since ancient times. They count among their numbers Queen Elizabeth, the Bush family, Henry Kissinger, Bill and Hillary Clinton, Bob Hope, Billy Graham, and many more. They are Aldebaran's reptilian hybrid, an intelligent bipedal race of reptiles resembling humanoid, meaning they walk upright. They are using about 48% of the brain. They were created by Mother Hubur as a countermeasure for the ongoing insect war they were fighting. Mother Hubur later saw that she was very powerful, being in control of the reptilian clans. The first type was the Meldekians, and many types followed after that. The reptilian seed was placed on Qi, Earth, and Meldek. 2 types came about on the planet Meldek and 3 types on Chi, Earth. Chi, pronounced Ki or Earth, was known as Tiamat at that time. Some of the dinosaur reptilian clans were agreeable. One group is called the Naga. The Naga is one of the oldest races of reptilians. When you think of famous celebrities, politicians, and leaders of the world, it's hard to believe that they are normal human beings like us. They just seem to be bigger and better than the average person. But what if they weren't humans at all? What if they were actually 15 feet tall reptilian-like shapeshifters from outer space who came to Earth and slowly took over our governments and entertainment industry for the sole purpose of enslaving the human race? These reptiles control us by creating wars and mindless entertainment to keep us distracted. Famous reptiles include the Rockefeller, the Rothschilds family, CEOs, global banking leaders, and even celebrities. These reptiles also are believed to make up the Illuminati and can take on human forms by creating vibrations that give us the illusion that they are human. It seems like something that would be in a science fiction movie. This theory first became popular in 1998 after a man named David Icke published his book called The Biggest Secret, and remains popular today. There are alien shapeshifters roaming our planet and controlling us so-called normal humans. The basis, the Reptilian Elite, is that in ancient times, a group of advanced reptiles from the Alpha Draconis star system came to Earth and infiltrated the governments of the ancient civilizations in order to control all the humans and enslave them, and became their rulers and bred with other humans to form crossbreeds so that their DNA can infiltrate the minds of humans. With their DNA inside our systems, they can control us by making us dumber, slower and weaker, and therefore easier to control. Evidence for this reptilian DNA in us comes from the fact that in the early stages, developing embryos look a lot like reptiles and could be classified as such. Furthermore, the oldest parts of our brain which control the most primal functions and instincts is called the reptilian brain, because it is made of the structures that the reptilian brain consists of, which are the brainstem and cerebellum. However, these could just be the result of the fact that we originally evolved from reptiles, as they were the first animals that existed on Earth, so naturally we would have parts of our body that are similar to theirs. Different celebrities' eyes have been seen shifting and turn reptile-like. This is because it is hard for these reptiles to keep their true selves hidden through the camera. There is an incredible amount of people who actually said they've seen one of these things in person. 12 million Americans to be exact, and even more people worldwide. Most people can't see them because they have the ability to control our minds, to make them think that they are humans. The Draconian Empire is an intergalactic imperial empire ruled by the Chiaka that has been regarded as one of the most dangerous and feared superpowers in the universe, being an ally to the Orion Empire and enemy to the Galactic Federation and United Federation of Dimensions. They have conquered thousands of worlds, most through an unorthodox method of infiltration. They operated behind the scenes in most arcs of hyperdimension and multidimension. Long ago, when the universe was not populated with thousands of civilizations, extremely advanced beings called the Carrions, who were an advanced bird race of extraterrestrials, arrived in our universe in etheric form. They seeded themselves on an unknown world and began to take on the form of the bird-like creatures on the planet. After eons of incarnating into their bird-like bodies, the Carrions began to genetically design many species in the multiverse. One of their species created were the Draconian Chiaka race, which was drafted out of the Naga reptilian with the help of Mother Hubur. This new race had wings. They were flying serpents. When they were created, the Chiakas, they were seeded on a planet called Sekara, where they had the best chance of survival. Upon creation, the Carrions told them that the multiverse was theirs for the taking and that they were destined to rule over creation. This mindset became stronger in the reptilians as they evolved and has driven them into conflict with many civilizations, including the Anunnaki Elohim. After the Great Galactic War, most of the Chiakars were killed off by the Anunnaki, but the Chiakars managed to create a smaller splinter race called the Draconians. This civilization of the Draconians would become known as one of the most oldest, advanced civilizations in the universe, having gaining centuries of experience in magecraft and technological advancements from their master race. For many millennia, they have journeyed to countless worlds, pillaging and destroying civilizations for the sake of conquering and destruction. They eventually decided on a more sophisticated method of domination of other worlds, which involved infiltration, corruption of societies, and a breakdown of lesser advanced civilizations on a spiritual and mental level over the course of centuries. The Draconians created a slave race, which came to be known as the Aldebarians through the use of genetic cloning. The Aldebarians revolted against their Draconian creators and started their own agenda to find a cure for their dying race, because they are unable to reproduce naturally. At some point in Earth's early history, the Draconian Empire came to Earth to infect it with their evil agenda. For centuries, they have been close allies with the Jinn's race of reptilians, who are another race of Draconians, whom they come to respect as their leader, and has gotten into wars with many societies, including some factions of the Anunnaki, who saw them as a threat to the order they upheld. They've also gotten into many conflicts with the Galactic Federation of Light and United Federation of Dimensions, even though the Draconians do not seem to acknowledge them as important threats. On Earth, they played a part in the creation of the Amber Light Illuminati order, which also had influence over many great wars throughout human history, including the Civil Wars and both World Wars. Although even before the Amber Light Illuminati was created, there were many other battles that involved the Draconians, including the destruction of the two nations of Solaris and Regalia. Records of some of these battles were eventually covered up by the Draconians in power in order for future generations to believe in a false history, keeping humanity in the dark about the truth of some aspects of Earth. In their chaotic state, the Draco are utterly without mercy, driven by one will alone, the will to conquer and destroy. They are beyond both redemption and reason. Draconians in the Empire are imperial in nature, sinister in motivation, and aggressive in character. They view themselves as the superior beings and deem any other race that is not Draconian worthless and inferior. They show this behavior towards humans, which they refer to as primitive dogs. They are highly intelligent and cunning in their schemes against other worlds, which makes them dangerous. Competitive and expansive, their massive egos have allowed them to seed themselves as the rightful rulers of lesser advanced worlds such as Earth. The individuals within the High Council, though they have the appearance of notable age and wear, their temperament is said to be utterly devoid of empathy or patience. They are completely incapable of feeling any sensations of fear or pain. And when another creature is feeling pain or fear, it produces a huge energy which the Draconians love to bask in and ingest, also known as energy vampirism. The Draconians refer to this as drinking juice, and by ingesting this energy, an individual will feel drained, weak, and even ill in some cases. This is why they take their time in regards to conquering Earth and other worlds. They prefer slow and painful methods of conquest rather than outright destruction. These Draconians are shown to be very power-hungry and having no qualms about killing even their own fellow Draconians to obtain power. When in battle, they display great amounts of ferocity and aggressiveness against their enemies and takes pleasure in torturing their enemies in a multitude of ways. Some Draconians view humans, cattle, and other animals as food sources and use human bodies to drink blood. Draconians believe that fear rules and that love is weak. They believe that those they perceive to be less fortunate in comparison to them are meant to be slaves. This belief system is promoted at birth in Draconian races. It was thought they potentially threatened the stability of the galactic community because of these very tendencies. This has resulted in the Draco becoming a very feared civilization. It is theorized that the entirety of the Draconian Empire is connected in a pseudo-hive mind of sorts, as they are a telepathic species. Either through a form of dark thaumaturgy or advanced technology, the Draconians' general attitudes and moods may be manipulated by an unknown source, which causes them to act violently. Weapons created by the Draconians seem to support this theory, as whenever a non-Draconian takes hold of the Sekar staff, they almost become Draconian-like in terms of attitude and persona. Even Arcturians, beings who have repressed their emotions, can easily fall into a berserk state from taking hold of it. Like with the thousands of worlds they've conquered, their big goal is to dominate Earth and replace the human race with a handful of the Neo-Tikar, Draconian human hybrid custom-designed, engineered and cloned biological androids, transhumans which are biological machines when the time is right, and eventually take over the Milky Way galaxy. Their end goal is to conquer the entire universe, and they see Tarnush and Halal as a secondary ruler because of the fact that they have the same goal of dominating Akasha. They aid him in his search of the Eternity Shards in hopes that he will lead them to Akasha with the intent of controlling existence in its entirety, something that they have never been able to accomplish. The Draconians' influence is possibly their greatest weapon. Over the centuries, they, along with the Illuminati order, have been secretly manipulating human governments and factions for their agenda to dominate Earth. They also have control over the media through sophisticated means of mind control and magecraft. And it is said they could start a third world war on a whim if they desired it. Many of Earth's world leaders are believed to be Draconians in disguise, controlling the political, monetary and educational installations of each country, and manipulating each war behind the shadows. It is also implied that the Draconians also use religion as a means to control human societies, and that they are behind the corruption within the Mages Association and the Holy Church. The Draconians are responsible for all of the wars, destruction, hatred, perversion, and degradation in humanity, since they consume the negative energy humans create. For extremes, they utilize horrific methods to turn human soldiers into domesticated psychopaths. People who possess the same mentality as serial killers and rapists, but used as soldiers for military factions. Because of their great influence over man, they are highly formidable foes. Their society was noted as quite complex when it came to their government. Draconian society was based on a feudal system organized around traditional great houses of noble lineage, to which various parts of the population owed fealty. The great houses are traditionally represented in the Draconian High Council, which is led by a chancellor. Males traditionally dominated public life in the empire, assuming the leading roles in politics and the military, with only rare exceptions. Draconian women were treated as equals, except in politics and matters of inheritance. Law prohibited them from serving in the High Council, and they could not take control of their houses unless they had the money and no male successors of the lineage. Otherwise, Draconian women were expected to exhibit the same physical prowess and lust for blood, and as the men. The military is integral to Draconian society as it provides opportunities for warriors to prove their worth in battle. For the same purpose, the Empire often seeks to expand through conquest. Discipline is strictly enforced by one's superiors and subordinates both. The latter may assassinate his superior and take his place. This gives humans the false impression that there are no rules, but in fact this can be done only under certain conditions, dereliction of duty and cowardice among them, and the challenge can be made only to a direct superior. Being a dominating hierarchical society, Draconians are born to be killers from the earliest years. They do not allow emotions such as love, kindness and compassion into their society, as those traits are seen as weaknesses. Upon birth, the mother will abandon their offspring to fend for themselves. If they survive a full year, they are taken care of by a warrior class, which uses the children for games in combat and entertainment. In this way, the Draconians are forever stuck in a survival state. They believe that in their ways, that if the young ones survive, they were meant to, and in the process, they have had to fight all the way, and at a young age, they are completed warriors, which depends on no one. This means that they have no boundaries in what they would do to other beings. It is rooted in them never to trust a human race after the Great Omni War, when the Reptilians invaded the humanoid races living in peace. The Draconians are taught the reptilian version of the Great Galactic War, in that humans are at fault for invading the universe, and that humans selfishly wanted the Draconians to struggle and suffer for the basic materials that would allow them to exist. Draconians are taught from young that they are superior to all other beings, and that they need to be respected and perceived as masters. Those who can show that they are physically or otherwise more powerful earn a higher rank in their groups. Higher ranks are coveted by all Draconians, yet they show due respect to their higher ones, even if part of that seems to be envy too. Draconians are extremely territorial. According to the first known Draconian linguist, there was no such thing as an insignificant corner of Draconian space. On Earth, there are reptilian human hybrids who possess Draconian DNA. These hybrids are referred to as the Blue Bloods, which the families of the Amber Light Illuminati order are said to be made up of. Such reptilian human hybrids are able to embody Draconian ruthlessness, ideals and actions, and so being the Draconian presence in humanity, in place of reptilians who would be there in person. Malice refers to these as sleeper agents, as it appears that Draconians are able to activate these reptilian genetics in a bloodline human, at which the human suddenly changes and becomes more Draconian in nature, awakening qualities such as fearlessness, stamina, power, ambition, and focus. Bloodline humans would also be easier for the Draconians to mind steer, to have an active role through that person here on Earth. According to Malice, one of the masters in the Amber Light Illuminati Holy Grail War was one of these Draconian human hybrids. Draconians are bipedal reptilians that commonly are tall, around 7 to 35 feet, however they come in all sizes, depending on which type they are. They have green scaly skin, 3 long fingers and an opposable thumb with talons on the ends, holes for ears, muscular legs and arms, and large eyes. There have been reports of reptilians with and without tails, with and without wings, and hidden genitalia. They have been sighted wearing very little clothes except for armor, but are always seen with some sort of utility belt which holds their swords or other weapons. Sometimes they are seen wearing cloaks which most of their reptilian features, including tails. Average Draconians are said to be physically stronger than any normal human, though their strength varies depending on which size and type they are. They get tired very little and can stay awake for as long as 12 days. They are able to adapt to any kind of environment, regardless of the conditions, being able to stand extreme temperatures for long periods. Draconians are able to see in pitch-black darkness without any issues whatsoever, which is why their ships and other living areas they inhabit have very little interior lighting. This is also due in part to their apparent hatred of light, such as sunlight, though they have adapted to it. Draconians are very telepathic beings, able to read the thoughts of anyone they come into contact with. This makes them extremely dangerous due to the fact that they can telepathically attack their enemies in many ways, such as showing them illusions and visions, assaulting them with telepathic messages, and is even able to mentally control their subjects for a time. For humans who have Draconian DNA, this allows them to activate the Draconian traits within the person, allowing them to become more Draconian-like in order to achieve an agenda. Some Draconians also possess unusual abilities such as fire breathing and heat vision.